give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys have been great. We are still in a pandemic. The life is moving and happening in this household. But if you guys are not already subscribed, before we get into this video, make sure you pause this video and press subscribe down below. Along with that, hit the bell notifications link so you know when a new video is going up. Today we are back with another video, little like relationship-ish chit chat. We haven't done one in a while, so we thought, you know, it's storming outside. I'm done shooting and working, so we were like, let's just record the video that everyone keeps asking for. And that is, what are the tough conversations that you guys had in your relationship that you guys were talking about? I don't remember when we mentioned it, but in our premarital session, a lot of the stuff that we were asked and that our pastor, or my former pastor, he says he's always my pastor. So PG, if you see this, just ignore it. One thing that he said was that like you guys really, a lot of couples haven't already dealt with a lot of these things that I'm doing. So he was like breezing by this stuff like, have you talked about this? Have you talked about this? And we're like, yeah, like in the first month of us even like, we weren't even like together then, we were just talking. But we knew what we wanted and we knew where we were at in life. So it was like, okay, let's figure this out now. Let's talk about all the stuff that people would consider hard. That wasn't really hard to us. But yeah, anyways, you have anything else to say, baby?
Really, I just go by when we're discussing all of these, this is because we already knew like what we wanted like from each other. We knew that we were gonna try to further this into something else, as in like being an official couple and long-term getting married, which really wasn't that long.
Yeah.
But so it's not like something that, oh, I don't know if we're really official or if he wants to be my girl, if he wants to be my boyfriend or she wants to be my girlfriend. Like, these aren't for that question. These are, I know that I want to be with her or I want to be with him. So.
Right, and this is not like you dealing with somebody who like, y'all not really like on the same page and stuff like that. I feel like
situationship stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Not situationships. This is when you know what you want, you know that you're looking for something more. So these conversations are crucial to have. I mean, we thought early, they weren't hard for us, but just these are the things. So let's just get into it. So the first thing that we talked about, actually no, let me stop. These are in no type of order. Like these are in no order, but these are the questions that were asked in our session and that just, we see that a lot of couples have issues agreeing on or talking about. So these are not in any particular order. We thought about them during a road trip and just we're shooting them off. So one of them is, do you want to have kids? We are watching Grey's Anatomy right now. I got my husband on Grey's.
Yeah, she got me.
He's binging. And one of the things that we saw in the show, which we see with other people, but one thing was when Christina and Owen were together and Christina wanted no part of having kids at all. And they didn't have a conversation until after they were married. And we were like, that is like way too important.
Yeah.
To not have a conversation about that.
Big deal.
Yeah, because she ended up getting pregnant and then she wanted to focus on her career and all this stuff. But we feel like that is very important. And that was something that was like up here for us. Like, that is not a negotiable. That's not something we can like maneuver and like come to the agreement on like whatever. Like that is important to both of us. We both wanted a family. We both wanted kids and to leave a legacy and things like that. So that was very, very important for us. You want to add anything, Debbie?
Just another thing that pretty much all of these that we discuss are like things that are like big issues between both people. Are like, for us, these are things that are like no compromise. Like especially the kids thing. That's because that's a big issue. If you don't talk about that, and then later on down the line, y'all figure out that y'all are thinking two different things, completely different things.
It's not gonna work.
that's tough.
Another thing was, and this was like probably number one on my list, was are you saved and do you have a relationship with God? Not to say that everybody who I've dated throughout my entire, how old am I? 27? My 27 years. Not to say that everyone who I've dated or talked to throughout my 27 years was like this super saint, saved, speaking in tongues, falling out, knowing the word, like all of that kind of stuff. Not that any of that has to do with any of your relationship with God, but we won't go there. For a husband, that was a non-negotiable for me. I wanted somebody who could hold my family up in prayer when I wasn't able to. I wanted somebody who could have a godly leadership in the house, and that was something that wasn't negotiable for me at all. Like, you needed to have a relationship, not just go to church like through the routine, or not just be religious as a church kid. That is very different, but somebody who had a solid relationship with God was a non-negotiable for me. How about you, baby?
For me, it was definitely important, but at the same time, it was like trying to find somebody that was kind of like on my same path. Cause like me, I know myself.
Extremes.
Yeah, like me, I know myself, and like I said, from my past.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying, from my past, it is not women of that caliber. For the most part, but also it was like I wasn't there either, but I know where I needed to be and where I wanted to be. So I was looking for somebody that was, as my wife,
Super.
I was looking for somebody that was going to be along those lines and along the same path that I was on.
Definitely agree with that. Another thing that we talked about that's not as extensive or like deep, but how would you want to handle bills if we were to get married? How would you want to do that? Would you want to split? Are you a man who's like, no, I want to take care of everything and blah, blah, blah? Like, would you have an issue with me taking care of certain things and working and doing stuff like that? That was huge for me because I don't ever see myself not working, like ever, like never. So that was important for me because I never wanted to be, I mean, it's nice to be taken care of, but at the same time, I, for my own sanity, need to be able to sustain myself and contribute to the household. That's important to me.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't really a big issue with the whole, a man should take care of all of this or a woman should do this. Just like we talked about it and we said, I don't even think we have like a designated thing. It's like the things that I would already do. If she would have the same thing, I'd just do that for her as well.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just like, if she wants me to take care of something, then she'll let me know, hey, can you do this for me?
And if I don't, I tell him, do not take your credit card out. This is me, I got it, like, don't. And that's just how we do it around here.
This is true.
Okay, so another one that we had was specific gender roles. So a lot of couples do not talk about that. And that's something that we brought on or mentioned just in conversation to figure out like where your head was at. Just as far as like if we were, I think my exact words were, if we were to get married and move in together, what type of things would you expect me to do? And what type of things would you be doing in the household? It's a lot of different things that you guys can discuss. But for us, we kind of just went through individual things that we cared about and things that were not really important. So we were like, I don't care who does this, I don't care who does that. But for me, like an example would be for dishes and stuff in the kitchen. I would prefer to take care of that. Just because, not that you could survive. But just in terms of like dishes and things, I prefer if I cook, let me do the cleaning so I can put stuff where it needs to go and have things the way I like it. My husband is also very OCD. He's actually a lot worse than me. His things like his laundry, he has to do it on a certain day at a certain time. It's like a whole routine and rhythm with it. But there are little things that like we care about, and then other things that was like whoever can do it. But those are important too, because I've heard about couples getting into it like was somebody not, doing this, and it's really all about your expectations,
which should be discussed early,
far in advance.
The whole reason for the
video. Because at the end of the day, like we could just not do this if we're not on the same page with like a lot, 50%. Well, not 50% is not bad. If we're not on the same page with 80% of what we got going on, let's not waste each other's time. Let's just find somebody who is aligned and on the same page as that. Like, we could be cool, that's it.
Just think of what you do, like on your everyday basis, and how do you feel that, would you want that other person to do it, or do you want to do it, or does it matter to them if you do it?
And we both are very, very independent people. So we had extensive conversations about, like, you know, this is how I like my peace and quiet, and this is how, you know, I handle certain things. But that was important to us because we value our peace and we value, you know, our quiet time and our alone time and stuff like that. Oh, this was a big one. What do you splurge on? Like, how do you spend your money outside of bills and things? Like, what, everybody has that one thing where it's like, it doesn't matter how much it costs, this is what I like, and this is what I like to spend my money on. Everybody's thing is different.
You need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yes, because, I mean, that's way too important, because you could spend our lives earning on this one thing that's important to you, and that's just not gonna cut. I mean, we know we're smart with money, but I wanted to know what was that thing where it doesn't matter how much it is, or like it's important to you. Because it's also where you find where someone's heart is. So we talked about that on a deep level, and just on like this is what I like and I'm gonna spend it because I work and I can do that. But that's also very important. Nothing to add? Okay.
I agree. No,
we have a long list.
We talked about that, so we just gonna keep on rolling.
Yeah, family and holidays. That was important, as well, as both of us have very close-knit families who like to do certain things at certain times. So for me, it was like, okay, if we got married and had a family, where's the holiday, or what's the holiday that your family would be like, I expect you to be here, and that's just that. Whether it's a holiday, whether it's a reunion, or whatever. Some people's families take reunions very, very seriously, and some don't. But that was something that I wanted to know, like, where would we stand on that? Because for me, my family loves Christmas, and my immediate family loves Christmas.
She loves Christmas.
They love Christmas too.
It's a whole different category for her, but okay, you can proceed.
My family and me love Christmas. My grandmother takes Thanksgiving very seriously. Very. Like, she will have attitude if you don't show up, and then she will talk about it until the next Thanksgiving and be like, oh, so you plan on coming with your family this year? But there's different things like that I wanted to learn about his family, and where would we have to be, what would we have to maneuver. And then for me, as someone who wants to have a massive family full of kids and just whatever, I want to be able to host. So I was like, would your family be comfortable if I was the one that hosted this holiday? Or, you know, or would they be like, no, we're good. So that was important for us to talk about, just because of how important it is to me. Every family or every relationship may not feel the same, but I feel like with every person, what's important to you is different. So there are different conversations that'll need to be had. Another one is debt and money talk. So this is probably like way up on the list, because everybody falls within different categories. You know, like my amazing husband here, who went to college for free. Unlike me, who went to a private university, who is one of the most expensive schools in the country. We had to have that conversation, and I was like, this is how much I owe in loans. Like, what's that looking like for you? How do we maneuver it? What are you thinking? Would you want to pay it off right away? Or are you cool with me just, you know, letting it rock because the world has student loans? But that is a conversation that we had, just kind of figuring out where everybody's money is and what we would, because I mean, essentially you're combining everything. Like, you become one. So if one person's in a crap ton of debt and you marry him, them or her, we all in a crap ton of debt, and you just, you know, blew your whole debt-free life. So that's something that's really, really important. Another one, and I'll let you do this, baby, wedding preferences.
Wedding preferences. So this was actually, I mean, that's definitely something to talk about. And I like got blessed, lucky, whatever you want to call it, with my wife here. But
it wasn't none of that.
Yeah, none of it. It's definitely something to talk about, because if you're, you know, want a small wedding, nice, intimate, with just your immediate family, your close friends, and y'all don't talk about that, and then
the other
you
person
propose,
wants a
and she's
whole-
like, oh well, I like, you know, we gotta have like 300 people coming and all that. Then you just
like all of my amazing African friends who have them big shebangy weddings that I love to go to, but like, no way I'm spending that much money.
So just being around just all the people on that day, I feel like I did want to keep it like just real close and personal.
We actually at one point, guys, believe it or not, we at one point really, for the most part, we were just gonna go to the courthouse, get married, and then be like, haha, surprise, we're married.
Yeah, that was for the whole
like,
part.
we were not doing anything. What we did was big to us.
Shout out to
Like, Shayma Ali, Luminosa Events, Marika, Mom, like everybody, like all of my friends, they did that because we were not. They talked us
out of the courthouse.
Yeah, they talked us out of the courthouse because people were like, well, what are you wearing? I was like, well, I got a white dress in my closet. We just going to the courthouse. And they were like, no, can you let us do something? So we had our amazing wedding in our backyard with balloons and decorations from Dollar Tree and Party City that they made look like a wedding. But that is something that is extremely important to talk about because for me, I don't know if I would have been able to get with the let's have. I mean, of course, there's compromise everywhere. If you really love someone, whatever. But at the same time, for me, I have always wanted that moment to be me and that person because that's who it's going to be for the rest of the time. And I feel like a lot of times people have weddings where it's people there that you can't even call when y'all need something. You know what I mean? It's just, you know. Nah. The next one is how do you deal with and process things? So your communication styles, how do you process your emotions? Are you one of those people who are a super reactor, or do you just withdraw yourself? Or do you just need a few to process it and then you'll talk about it? I feel like that is extremely important because even just in my friendships, like we're all so different. Everybody processes things different. Sometimes people want to vent and just talk through it over and over and over again until they're over it. And then there's people like me who just like to be quiet and deal with it on their own, and then we just move forward from it. I'll talk to my therapist. You know, I think that's important in a relationship to really figure out, like, do you want me to leave you alone when you're going through something for a little bit until you're ready to talk about it? Or do you want me to press you, you know, over and over until I can get it out of you? Or does that drive you and make it even worse? And for me, when I am pressed about anything in life, the more you ask about it, the more you press me, the more you ask, what's wrong? What's wrong? It makes it 1,000 times worse. And then now I'm just mad at you too and whatever else I was mad at. So, yeah.
I agree. I say this is one of the main, thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
This is one of the main things to talk about, especially for me, because when we first started dating and she met my friends and everything, they were telling her like, good luck, he's not gonna tell you much. But that's because I was the type to don't really talk about it. And it's not that I'm just holding it in, don't want to handle it or deal with it. That's just how I dealt with it. So just being around like
and when they told me that, I did get worried. I was like, oh, here we go. Somebody who just sweeps their problems under the rug,
but
blah, blah, blah. And then I later saw that's how he processes.
Yeah. So as my girlfriend, I would let her know like what was going on. But for like family and close friends, I've had deaths in the family that they probably didn't even know about. Facebook. Yeah, they found out on Facebook. I didn't tell them, like I'd be hanging around them, and for me, just being around them and just having just time with them and talking to them, that is how I cope with it. I didn't have to say what was going on. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to tell them what happened. Just being around like love was how I dealt with it. So I didn't have to tell them. But if you don't tell that to anybody, like how you handle things, then like she said, she was worried when my friends told her that, but her being my girlfriend and now my wife. And
he was taking steps, and I feel like because he knew that that's how it came off, he would be like, okay, I'm dealing with this, or like, he would like tell me what was going on to allow me to not have room to overthink or think that he's holding something from me. So he would be like, okay, this happened, I don't really want to talk about it, but just so you know, or like I would be like, what's wrong? And he would be like, I don't know, I just need a second. And I'll be like, okay, that's all I need to know, because then I start thinking all this crazy stuff, and I'm an extreme overthinker, so it just goes all over the place. So you do better just telling me so-and-so happened or something happened, and I need a second to process it before we talk about it or before I talk about it, or I'm good and I just need a moment. Like, and I know to just back off, let you have that moment, and then we good. So although his communication style was different, me being someone who he wanted to build with, he was like, okay, let me just at least say something so she doesn't overthink. So see, there's compromise.
Bottom line is, if you do like handle things like the way I do, at least let your significant other know, like, this is how I do it. That way when the time comes, you could tell them like, this happened, that happened, but they'll know, okay, you don't have to keep asking like, are you okay, what's wrong, or things like that. They'll know that you just need your time.
Yeah, agreed. The next one is love languages, and it kind of goes with what we said, personality traits and things like that. We talked about our love languages on our first date? Second date.
Yeah.
Second
It was
date.
like third, because we did petties, then we did
It was third.
So it's third.
On our third date, which was all in the span of a week, might I add. That was where we just kind of found out. And we always have fun like taking these like random personality tests and stuff like that. But I feel like that's extremely important. And as somebody who was in therapy at the time and really just kind of doing digging to learn myself, that was something that was important to me, because I feel like a lot of times, not even just romantic relationships, but with our loved ones, we often give the love that we want to receive, and that's not how the person receives it. So they receive something totally different that we're doing, and we think that we are just showering them with all the love, and to them they're like, okay, like, you know, that's it. So I feel like that was important for me to know early on, like, how can I love you how you want to be loved? How can I treat you the way that you will notice the little things and see that I pay attention? So for me, my love languages are words of affirmation and receiving gifts. And receiving gifts could be anything from like you saying that I like, oh, candle. So he came over to my house once and saw that my candle was running low. And he went to Bath and Body Works and got that same candle and brought it over the next time he came and was like, oh, I saw your candle was running low. I just went and got you another one, so you know you didn't run out all the way. And I think that's maybe where I fell in love with him. I think so. I think that was probably one of the times, because I was just like, you pay attention. It doesn't have to be this grandiose situation, but you just noticing that it was something important to me, and just acting on it without me having to say anything was like the best thing in the world. What about you, Boo?
Yeah, this was an important one, because for mine, I believe mine was just quality time. Like I said earlier, how I handle things, I just need to be around like friends and family. So quality time is my big one. Like, we'll be sitting here watching TV.
Hours on hours.
Yeah, we won't even really have to say anything, but just her being there with me is like my love language. Or we'll go out and just sit by the water somewhere, not having to say a word, just playing music and just hanging out and being around. So just learn each other's love language
early, so you know, so that you can really give that person what you have to offer without burning yourself out doing something that they don't even recognize, that doesn't even resonate with them. That is extremely important. Okay guys, so the next one is social media preferences, and you could do this one maybe.
So obviously that's a huge thing in
our household.
Our household and today's world. But a big thing for us is just having that communication of, especially in the beginning, how do you handle social media, like with a significant other? How do you want to handle it going forward? Like with us, because we had a conversation, she wasn't posting me, I wasn't posting her, and that wasn't just
like,
because.
Let's just chill out.
Yeah, it's not because, oh, you're hiding there and all this. Like,
yeah.
Because we had the understanding, we knew. But if it was something that was never talked about, and then, of course, especially for women and your friends, it's, oh, he not posting you.
Listen, I've had a few guys before that we were just talking, like strictly talking. And they posted me, and I was like, now we can't even talk no more. Now it's over.
I mean, yeah.
Because you need to communicate these things. Like you can't just do that.
But that too, and also because people may have prior relationships and such, so that way, you know, people like to be messy. So you put somebody up there and it's, oh, this and that, and then they try to go and be messy. And if y'all haven't had conversations about anything, then it's just, oh, who's this and who's that. But we took the time to actually talk about literally everything. Our old relationships, old situationships. So then about time that we actually put each other up on our pages.
That foundation was already there.
Yeah, so
everybody knew everything.
Who's this? And it's, oh, okay, this is who he told me about, or this is who she told me about. So
very important.
There's that.
That is very important. And just with my job being what it is, I knew that I couldn't just be with somebody and expect that they were okay with me posting all about our life and our relationship and sharing pieces of our relationship, not all, pieces of our relationship with the public. Like, you can't just assume that. So I had to ask him, like, this is what I do for a living, and I want my brand to grow into my family life, and I want to still be able to share pieces of my marriage, pieces of my, you know, kids, and all of that stuff. So I had to make sure that that was something that he was okay with, and respect if he did tell me no. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, that's not really me. Don't ask me to be in no videos. I'll just be here and be in the background, and I would have had to respect that. But that was something that was important to me, to really get his approval. Because even with my family, like, I check with them before we do things, and I'm like, guys, are you cool with me vlogging here? Because you just can't assume. The next one is the work-life balance and just like future plans. So specifically with our situation, I have a flexible job. I do travel when it's not a pandemic. I do travel for work. And I knew that I was getting with an athlete who travels for work. So me knowing what he did, I was like, can I really handle this as far as him leaving for like amounts of times? Or would I be okay with picking my family up and moving to wherever he is? Of course, we have friends that do that all the time, but I really had to put that in perspective for us, and we had to have that conversation. Like, okay, if you get picked up to go here, what would you expect? If you got picked up to go here, what would you expect? If we had kids, you know, whatever, like, would I still be able to work and travel and do stuff? All of that type of stuff, because I feel like in a lot of relationships, people don't have those conversations. Then when that call comes, it's havoc in the house because everyone is assuming something different. So for me, I wanted us to be on the same page early, like, we going where you going, and my work is going where you going. But if I need to come home, then that's what we're gonna do. And this city will be our base. This will be, you know, our plan. We will go back and forth. We will do whatever. But just making sure that we were on the same page with that. Also, because he could have been like, oh no, I'll just go and y'all just stay home. And I would have been like, yeah, no. No. But yeah, so we had to talk about that. Anything you gotta add, Luke?
I mean, not too much. I feel like you would probably have more to say on it than me. Cause like whenever you travel, it's like
quick.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's definitely a big thing, especially if, like you said, somebody in a relationship or both have to travel a lot. Definitely something to talk about.
Yeah. Another one was, how do we want to raise our kids, and key principles. This was something that I asked Koan, like, what are the top qualities that you want to be able to pass down to your kids? Or what are the key principles that you want to instill in your kids as they're growing up? And for me, this was not only a way to see how he would raise his kids and what was important to him, but like, what do you think is important that you would want your legacy to be? So that was important for me. And just like, do you believe in whoopings or do you not? Do you believe in yelling or do you not? Or do you believe in discipline at all? Or do you just let these kids run rampant? And that would have been an issue if we weren't on the same page. Or do you send kids in the timeout and make them hold their arms up like this until they start crying?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Even just with like homework and schoolwork, do you find that important? Or do you think that outside activities or sports or whatever is more important? That was all something that we had to discuss. Not that it was a deal breaker. So like I said, this is in no particular order, but we just wanted to know everything up front. We wanted to know what we were getting ourselves into. And through these conversations, we were able to see what the other person valued and what was important to them. How we wanted to merge churches, and if we were to get married, how would that work? And we come from pretty traditional households, so of course I'm the one that has to move when we're able to get back to church. I am going to join his church because that's just how we decided to do things. So PG, you will always be my pastor, and you know we will be coming to see you at church and otherwise, just because we love you so much and you are just amazing. But I will be heading over to another church.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was important because where we worship as a family, there was no option to be split and like you go here and I go here. That was not even.
That wasn't happening.
No.
I would have had church and made a scene. Y'all seen my wife?
Yeah, that was not even an option. To just have two split households of like, you got this word, this person got this word, everybody on different pages. Nah. But another one was, how do you want to share, or how would you share information about our relationship and just the whole thing with getting other people involved? That was huge for us. Yeah, like we see a lot of people or friends and just associates who, you know, when they're going through it, you know, everybody knows when they're ups and they're downs and they're happy and they're sad and just everything, like everything is just open to the public, and that is something that neither one of us were for. Not that it's a facade, but like our business is our business. This is our house. This is in our house. Like we figure certain things out. Some things we'll share, and we don't believe in keeping everything secret because sometimes you do need, you know, collective prayer from your loved ones. But just in terms of like certain things or plans that we have for life, like I don't need you going off and just talking about it with all your friends. What if this is something that's like important to me or important to him? So yeah, we definitely thought that was important to discuss. Just, you know, how do you want to handle things in our house with keeping our home, and our business, and that was important.
Agreed.
And I think that's all, guys. I mean, I know that was a lot of stuff, and there's probably a crap ton more of things that we talked about, but we wanted to give some of those conversations that we talked about. Other things were like, you know, what does your prayer life look like? And if we were going through something, how would we, you know, tackle that together from a spiritual level and things like that. But all of these things are important, and I'm sure you guys can think of so many more things just with what's important to you. I encourage you guys, not that we are relationship experts, not that we are life experts. We are figuring this thing out just like everybody else. We are just here, and I have a platform, he has a platform, so we decide to share the things that we want to share. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have additional questions or video topics and things, we will definitely check them out and consider. Make sure you leave them down below. If you are not already subscribed, subscribe, and I love you guys. I hope you guys are being safe in this pandemic. This is gonna be our new normal. So, I mean, although we are supposed to be quarantining, you can't live in a room forever, but just be careful and take precaution when you do things. You know, we're not here to judge, so of course people have to go to work, people have to do things, and some people don't have the luxury of being able to stay in their home. They don't have a safe environment, they don't have, you know, a cozy environment, and they have to go elsewhere to get peace of mind. So, we're not judging, but just wherever you guys do, make sure you're doing it safe, take care of yourself, make every day count. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this world, so just keep your peace of mind. If you guys are, oh yeah, that too. Wait, but also a lot of you guys have been asking me about finding a therapist. I found my therapist on therapyforblackgirls.com. There is an entire list for every city and state where you guys can find a directory of therapists. And for me, you know, I've gone to a few different people and I went with the person that fit for me. So I wouldn't do you guys the justice of just giving you my therapist, also because I don't want to see y'all when I walk in the office. But at the same time, you have to find who fits for you. So I love you guys. If you guys are not following me on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
She tweets now.
I do tweet now. All that stuff. Make sure you guys are following me. And give my husband a follow too, but don't DM him because I'm crazy. I love you guys. Peace out. Ooh.
Is your hair off of your shoulders?
Thank you for checking. Thanks, baby. How's my lace?
You look good, girl. Pay him no mind.
Cooper is humping this toy, y'all.